So we are moving on to one of my very favorite things to teach. I love teaching how to tell time. So today we're going to start slow and we are just going to learn about the o'clocks, okay? So you've heard me, I'm sure you've heard your parents, you've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's 4 o'clock, oh, it's 5 o'clock, oh, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to talk about what that means. So on a regular clock, whenever the long hand is pointing to the 12, that means o'clock. Now I should take a step back and introduce the hands to you. Sorry, I should have done that first. Every clock has a long hand and a short hand. So go ahead and show me your hands. You got a long hand and a short hand. Okay. The long hand, and that's the pink one that I used, the long hand is called the minute hand. So go ahead and say that. The long hand is called the minute hand. The short hand is called the hour hand. So go ahead and say that. The short hand is called the hour hand. And so what that means is the short hand, whatever number that is pointing to, is going to tell us what hour it is. The long hand, the minute hand, is going to tell us how many minutes we are into that hour. Okay? So when we say o'clock, that means that that hour just started. So let's take a look at this one. Our hour hand is pointing at the 2. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. My minute hand is pointing to the 12. Whenever the minute hand is pointing at the 12, it means o'clock. So we've got 12 there. So the way that you're going to say this time is whatever hour it is, o'clock. So what hour is it? It's 2. So the time is 2 o'clock. Okay? So this clock here, the hour hand is pointing at the 2. The minute hand is pointing at the 12, so that means 12 o'clock. Let's try another one. Again. Oh, well, hold on. I'll do it backwards. So our hand is pointing at the 9 this time. And again, our minute hand is pointing at the 12. What does 12 mean? O'clock. Okay. So that means that this clock is showing 9 o'clock. Now let's move on to this one. My hour hand, the little guy, is pointing at the 11. Once again, my minute hand is pointing at the 12. Notice for all of them today, the minute hand will be pointing to the 12 because that's all we're practicing. We're doing one concept at a time, okay? So our hour hand is at the 11, the minute hand is at 12, so that means that it is 11 o'clock. And then over here we have the hour hand is pointing to the 6, and the minute hand is pointing to the 12. So that means that this must be 6 o'clock. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to go over, we're going to do this backwards. So I'm going to give you a time and you have to draw it on the clock. Now, you can choose to use colors for this if you want, or you can just use your pencil. That's fine, because on a normal clock, we don't see the different color hands, do we? Normally they're just black, or if they're a fancy clock, they're whatever color, but we don't usually see a red and a blue, right? So you don't have to do them that way, but what you do have to remember is that the minute hand is longer than the hour hand, okay? The hour hand is always a little guy. So, together we are going to do 4 o'clock. So I want to make my clock show 4 o'clock. So what hour, I'll grab my hour color, what hour should my hour hand be pointing to for 4 o'clock? My hour hand should be pointing to the 4, okay? And if it's o'clock, what minute should my minute hand be pointing to? Or sorry, what number? It should be pointing to the 12. Okay, remember, whenever it says o'clock, we're going to point to the 12. Let's do another. Let's try 7 o'clock. So what hour should I point to? I should point to the 7. And what number should I point to with my minute hand? I should point to the 12. Okay. And so those are the kinds of problems that you are going to do today. Sound good? So this is page 530 and 531. I'm going to go over them. So over here, you're going to answer, they give you a clock, and you have to say where the hour hand, where the minute hand is, and what time it is. Over here, you guys are going to be drawing hands on those clocks. And then down here, you get to make up your own. So you're going to make up a time. Okay, so maybe you'll pick 6 o'clock. You'll draw that on the clock and then draw a picture of something that you do at that time. So if it's 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe you're brushing your teeth. If it's 1 o'clock at school, you're eating lunch. If it's 6 o'clock at night, maybe you're eating dinner. Okay, so you'll draw a picture of whatever you're doing at that time in the box there. I thought that would be a fun one for you guys to do. All right, guys, see you later.